Welcome back to Harvard. Well, the dirty, angry money is definitely flowing down into Florida. Karl Rove, the Koch brothers, Sheldon Adelson, all the usual suspects are trying to influence that Senate race down there, and they're using big dollar amounts to do so. The goal to oust Senator Bill Nelson, who's facing off against Republican challenger Connie Mack Jr., who's certainly not his father, he's the kid. And what do the Koch brothers and the Adelson brothers or the Adelson family want out of all these deep contributions? Well, Senator Bill Nelson's with us now. Why would a guy named Sheldon Adelson, who's made all his money, fair enough, over in Macau, over in China. Apparently, he makes more money every night in his casinos in Macau, in China, than they make in Vegas overall. So LV Sands is booming. Why does he want to nail you?
Chris, I don't think he cares about Florida. I think he is just symptomatic of the others that are throwing money in because they want to buy elections and have the public policy enacted what they dictate. And so I think it's pretty clear. We're seeing the influence of money coming in. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be successful. I think the American people are going to really stand up on this one.
Well, it's this funny money. We've got a count here, $15 million. Let's look at the figures, Senator. Look at this Karl Rove super PAC. American Crossroads announced last week they had reserved over $6 million in airtime this fall to run against you. Then Las Vegas casino mogul Sheldon Adelson, I mentioned, has given $1 million to a pro-Connie Mack super PAC. And the Koch brothers, of course, from the oil and gas industry, their group, Americans for Prosperity, their prosperity, has spent $1 million in raising. In total, outside conservative groups are spending nearly $15 million. It's not even part of the official campaign. Now, let's get down the list here. You're very pro-Israeli. I mean, Sheldon Adelson, fair enough, cares about he's hawkish on Israel. You're pretty hawkish. What has he got? Has he raised any issue with you on foreign policy? Anything that really would justify a voter switching sides down there?
The short answer is no. And at least we know who Sheldon Adelson is because he's not hiding behind these IRS C4 organizations that don't have to disclose their donors. And, of course, that's why we had the legislation trying to get it considered, and it was blocked with a filibuster in order to disclose the names, just like all the rest of us have to disclose our contributors. Why shouldn't they? But it's because they can hide behind that masquerade, and therefore they can give their billions of dollars and not be known. If you required a lot of those donors to put their names out there in the public like everybody else has to, they wouldn't do it.
Well, you know, in Pennsylvania and other states now, you can't vote if you're just a little person, a regular person. I shouldn't say little, a regular human being in this country who's an American, and you want to vote. You got to get a photo ID card issued by the government. You got to walk in with that photo ID. These people can walk in with millions of dollars and never show their face.
That's correct. And by the way, just to add insult to injury, in the state of Florida, the legislature has passed what in effect is a voter suppression law, specifically to cut down on the amount of minorities, specifically Hispanics and African Americans. So they're really stacking the deck here. You take those kind of efforts that make it harder to vote, and then add that with this avalanche of TV advertising that is attack. And by the way, all the stuff's been run against me. The fact checkers like PolitiFact and the Annenberg School, they all said it's not only false, it's pants on fire false. Yeah. And yet that's what the public is being dished. Now, Chris, you and I know you put enough TV advertising, you can sell a box of soap.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're up against, and that's what I'm fighting.
And they're also trying to confuse Connie Mack with his father. Anyway, thank you very much, Senator Nelson, a moderate Democrat who ought to get reelected. Anyway, turning now to Jonathan Weissman, the congressional correspondent for the New York Times. Thank you for telling us about how this works, where people go in almost like a hit squad. They go into a state like South Carolina. They go after a guy like John Spratt. Again, clean as a whistle, moderate Democrat, budget chair for all those years, budget hawk. No liberal, and they kill the guy, and you still don't even know, even now, who put the $4 million check on the table.
Yeah,
Tell
John Spratt has no idea. You know, this is a group called the Commission for Hope, Growth, and Opportunity. It was founded in 2010. Scott Reed, you might remember, he was the campaign manager for Bob Dole. He announces this organization. He says, you know, it's going to be a $25 million organization. It's going to have the backing of all these different industries. But they go to the IRS and they say, we want to be a nonprofit social welfare organization. We're not going to be involved in electoral politics. Don't worry. They get that designation from the IRS. Therefore, they don't have to divulge any of the names of their donors. They quickly get a $4 million donation from one anonymous donor and immediately go on the air against 11 Democrats with just brutal ads. Their real focus, as you said, was John Spratt. He was the chairman of the Budget Committee at the time, one of only 3 committee chairmen taken out in 2010. You know, they accumulate all of these different complaints to the FEC, to the IRS, saying that these guys are just breaking the law. And then what happens? 2011, they just go out of business, and there's nobody to go after anymore.
So there's nobody coming on the air, man or woman, saying, my name is this and I paid for this ad. People they simply learn all these terrible things about a good guy like John Spratt. And I mean that. I don't think he was a moderate Democrat, a budget hawk, and he fit that district pretty well for a Democrat. And then to have somebody come in and basically just, do we even know if this person had a particular knowledge of John Spratt or why'd they pick him? The big villain here.
I asked John Spratt that. He didn't really know. His idea was, look, if you take out the Budget Committee chairman, you're going to undermine the entire fiscal policy of the Democratic Party, and especially the president, President Obama. He thought it came down simply to that. It was obviously a big trophy in 2010.
Well, the funny thing is, I'd say it funny in the worst way. Spratt made sure there was a budget every year in the House. He came through. Unlike the Senate in many cases, he actually delivered on the job, even if it was tough to do it. He's always been a moderate and a smart guy. This is a real loss. It's really political terrorism, this kind of money going in with no name on it. Anyway, thank you. From the New York Times, Jonathan Weissman joining us tonight.